I'm going to show you some different techniques you can use for converting your existing LiveCode application over to script-only stacks. So there are some new tools in the property inspector in LiveCode 9 that will help you if you're trying to convert a stack that has a user interface and you want to make all the scripts in that stack script-only stacks and assign them as behaviors to the controls. I'll show you how to do that. And then but I'll start with showing you how to convert like a basic library stack to a script-only stack. So that's pretty straightforward. And then we'll get into converting scripts to behaviors that are stored in script-only stacks. So first, I have a stack open in LiveCode 9, and I've got the application overview open. I've just done that because in the current beta of LiveCode 9, the project browser isn't working. So I can just right-click on any script, any stack that is a library stack, and just copy the script for that. And then I'm going to switch over to my text editor. And this particular folder structure, which you see here, is for a Lever application framework application. So there's a bunch of folders that kind of just help me organize my scripts. And so whenever you're doing a script-only stack, you're going to start off with script on the first line, and then you'll give the name of the stack. Now this one is app-specific controller, so I'm just going to give it the same name. And then I'm going to paste the whole script in right after that. And then I'm going to save it as app-specific controller.livecode script. Now livecode script is the extension that you can use for a script-only stack. And I'm using Sublime Text 3, and I'm using the LiveCode language module for that. So everything gets highlighted. And I also have a lint checker installed for LiveCode, and I have explicit vars turned on. So one, I'm going to see wherever I have a script error, I'll see this red dot. In this case, the error is let's see, it says it's a handler error in command, and what it is quit the app has not been defined as it's not a defined variable. So if I went and added that variable declaration, then the red dot would disappear. What I do is in Sublime Text, I have the editor tell me if there's errors like that. If I have an error where I haven't declared a variable, I can save the script though, and it won't affect how it runs in the LiveCode IDE. So if you have existing scripts and you want to go through and make them explicit vars safe, you can do that, but you don't have to right away. So this stack is now a script-only stack. That's all it took. And if I was to go back, actually I'll name this app controller 2, and I'll go to my file browser, and I'm going to open this stack in LiveCode 9. You'll see that it appears there, and I can edit the script. Let's make that a little smaller. And LiveCode just opens it like a normal stack. Now that we've seen how to convert a stack that's being used as a library stack into a script-only stack, let's look at how we might take a stack that has some user interface in it and convert all of the scripts, or at least most of the scripts, to script-only stacks, and then assign that script-only stack as a behavior. So in LiveCode 9, there are some tools. The property inspector has had some menus added, which will help with that. Here is the stack. Let's close this one. Here's the stack that I'm going to convert. It's just a little stack for entering URLs. And here we see in the application browser, the stack has a script, the card has a script, and there are a couple scripts within some of the controls. Now one of the first things I want to do is I'm moving these stacks out into script-only stacks so that I can put them into, I want to be able to use them under source control. So I'm going to manage them in Git. And so I want to standardize all my spacing. And so one thing you can do, I've set my preferences so that I want 2 spaces per indent. And you can see these scripts were done with 4. I can come in here and I can press Shift-Tab. And Shift-Tab will format the entire script for you. So there's that one we have to take care of. And this may not be important to you. white space is to me. I don't want to have, I want all my white space to be standardized. Alright, so that's done. I'm going to close the editor. And so now what I can do is I can open up the property inspector. And so I'm going to open up the property inspector for the stack itself. And here I'm on the behavior tab. And if I click on the target to the right of the behavior field, I have a new menu. It says create behavior from script only stack. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to create a stack using the existing control script. So this menu will take the script of the URL dialog stack, and it's going to ask me for a name, URL dialog behavior, and I'm going to actually add the word stack in there because it's going to be applied to the stack. And it's going to ask me where to save it. And so I'm going to go into, I'm going to make this a component. Dialog. And then I'm going to create a behaviors folder. So what I'm doing here is this URL dialog, this stack is going to become its own, I call it a component that I'm going to use in my application. So the actual stack file that has the user interface will be stored in the URL dialog folder right here. And any behaviors are going to go into this folder, the behaviors folder. Now that actually reminds me, in order to use these features, you want to have your stack saved on disk first. So I'm going to save this stack as its own. Oh, it's not going to let me do that, so I have to do this by script. I think that was a bug that's been fixed since. So let's say set the main stack of this stack to URL dialog, and now I should be able to save it. Okay, URL dialog. And so let's open that up. And it's hidden behind here. So now I'm going to save this. And now I'm going to save that, and that can be URL dialog. You know, I'm saving it right there. URL dialog.livecode. Now we're good. So at this point, now I want to go back and go to the behaviors tab and create my script only stack. Okay, I'm going to store it in behaviors, and I'm going to, well, I'll just use that for now, that'll be fine. It gives it a name for me, it suggests a name, and then I'm going to click save. Now a couple things happened here. Notice that the behavior field was filled in, and it says stack URL dialog stack behavior. So if I navigate back to my application folders, you see I have URL dialog, I've got a binary stack right there, and in behaviors there's my behavior script. It's been filled in, it all looks good, and then you see the name of the stack is URL dialog stack behavior. And so if I then switch back here, you see that that stack has been assigned as the behavior to the URL dialog. Now the other thing that happened when I did that was that a relative path to the new script only stack that I created was assigned to the stack files property. That's why I had to save the stack first, so that the property inspector code knew how to make a relative path. And so now what's going to happen is whenever I open this URL dialog stack in memory, it's going to know where to find the behaviors because they have been assigned to the stack files property. The engine will go looking for the behaviors in any locations that are assigned to the stack files. The engine will look for stacks as needed. So that's, now this stack is completely self-contained. I can work on this URL dialog stack. I can open it in the LiveCode IDE. All the behaviors will be loaded. It will function as it should. So the same thing is going to happen if I'm going to, and I think if I refresh, yeah, so now you see the URL dialog has 0 script lines because it's been moved out to a behavior, or a script only stack behavior. Now I'll do the same thing for the card. And we'll do URL card behavior, and I will store that in the behaviors folder. And now you see that that was added. So there's the card. There you see there's a explicit vars error right there. That's the only one. Don't need to worry about that right now. But if I go back to the stack property inspector, you'll see that another entry has been added to the stack files. So again, I can just open the stack up and the engine will load all these script-only stack behaviors in. Now I'm going to do the same thing for this URL field, which has 12 lines of code. So I will go ahead and create a script-only stack out of that. I'll call that the URL field. Oh. I'll call it the URL field behavior. I just like the names to be, to be a little more suggestive of what they're attached to. And so that has been added there. And if I refresh, you'll see that the script has been removed. Now these buttons and things that only have like 6 lines of script, right? So I'm usually doing like a mouse up handler and it just calls another handler in the card script. I'm not going to worry about converting those over to script-only stacks. I'm just going to leave those right in the stack itself. They're not going to change ever, so I don't care. I don't need to worry about that. I mainly want these scripts to be script-only stacks. They're the ones I'm going to be changing a lot, because then I can manage them under source control. I can have a very fine-grained, audit history of what changes I made, when. If a feature changed specific lines, then I'll know exactly what those were. So that's an introduction to how you can use LiveCode 9, which it's still in beta. And so I don't do development work with LiveCode 9 yet, but if I'm going to convert a stack to use script-only behaviors, LiveCode 9 is great for doing that. It automates a lot of the process for you. And then I'll go back into LiveCode 8 and actually do my app development.